If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. Would you ever think of a narcissistic individual as somebody that has a curse upon their life? And that's an interesting concept for us to look into today, because I want you to see that when people come at you with their real strong, overbearing, narcissistic pattern of life, they're operating out of a place of great dysfunction that's going to come against them as they age and as they continue to remain in that pattern. Now, when we tend to think of a curse, we might think of in the old classic dark fairy tale kind of way, the sorcerer or the sorceress pronounces some sort of a curse on another individual, and the recipient winds up receiving all sorts of pain or misfortune in their life because of the curse that's been pronounced upon them. What I want us to look at is not how a curse has been pronounced upon the narcissist by someone else, but I'm wanting us to examine the fact that they actually bring a curse upon themselves by creating a manner of life that does in fact bring pain and misfortune to themselves, okay? They have such a poorly conceived worldview that over time, as they continue on in their manner of life, their life is going to collapse. Now, I want you to just think about the primary ingredients of narcissism, the high need to control other individuals, and they do it in a condescending, superior kind of way over others. They don't care about how others feel or what they need and what their perceptions or interpretations are. It's all about them. They have a cold and callous style of engaging with other individuals. And ultimately, it's going to come back and bite them in the backside. Now, there's a progression about how this curse happens in its own self-induced kind of way. I mentioned just now that narcissists are very self-absorbed, and in their self-absorption, they build a shield of protection around themselves. They don't want to make themselves vulnerable. They don't want you to see the depth of their hurt or their own misery, but instead they seek narcissistic supply. And so in their search for narcissistic supply, they don't allow themselves to attach to other individuals because they don't want to have the vulnerability, but instead they're operating with the notion that says, what are you going to do for me? And if you've been around these individuals, you know that's one of their primary drivers. But given the fact that there are going to be plenty of people that are going to eventually decide, I don't want to be your supply, and I don't want to live to prop you up, they then develop an attitude of criticism as they engage with other individuals. They're constantly annoyed or agitated or irritated by others. And that being the case, they have an ever diminishing sense of human dignity. They see you as somebody who just doesn't cut the mustard. You're somebody that doesn't have worth beyond what you can do for them. But they also lose their own sense of dignity regarding their own inner self. I do believe that each person begins life with a sense of worth and dignity, but instead of narcissists building upon theirs, and in doing so they help others find it, they actually have just a more pessimistic outlook about themselves. They have to hide who they are. They keep secrets. And then as this progression goes on, their anger begins to build. Narcissists are known for not being able to manage conflict well, and as a result, they wind up having resentments and begrudgments. They have many broken relationships along the way. And then here's the ultimate curse. In this progression of their way of life, they ultimately come to be defined by their own attitude of contempt. It's self-induced, and by definition, they, as contemptuous individuals, continue to hold themselves as superior over other individuals, and they pronounce other people as being repugnant. They pronounce other individuals as being worthy of being despised. But in the end, they're miserable. They perpetuate misery, and then they carry that misery on the inside. They don't seem to enjoy what they're doing to other individuals, but ultimately, it's a life that can't be sustained, and they're never satisfied. So the curse of narcissism that goes along with and that grows as a person ages is their ever increasing attitude of contempt towards the world in front of them. Now, there are ways that you can identify how this plays out. For example, the more you watch and engage with a narcissist, you realize they're increasingly mean in the way that they engage with people. Mean people are not happy people. In addition, they become more and more calloused in the way that they treat other individuals. They're less and less concerned by other people's hurts or needs or feelings. It's just like, doesn't register, I don't care. On top of that, they're strongly inclined to create in versus out compartments. And so you're either on my team or you're not on my team. And then as you show yourself to be on the out part of that equation, then they wind up seeking revenge against you or anyone who is not on the inside with them. They kind of have this how dare you attitude, which then means that what they are is they're the consummate victim. It's like, yeah, the world out there is constantly making me mad, and that plays into that sense of contempt. They become increasingly incapable, and that's stronger than unwilling. They're not just unwilling to receive input, but they become increasingly incapable of receiving input. In other words, they become trapped in their own rationalizations and their own alternate reality, which is illustrated by the fact that they're so thin-skinned and easily hurt. And so they continually project their own unfinished business onto you with blame and accusations and anger and complaints about your unfairness towards them. And any pleasure that they have in life, it's always at someone else's expense. So do you understand what I mean when I say there's a curse that follows the narcissist? Ultimately, in a narcissist's life, many people can come and go in their life, but each day that narcissist wakes up and goes and looks in the mirror, they have themselves to look at. Their life is basically so self-centered. And when you begin thinking the only enduring person in their life is their own self, and their life is driven by someone who succeeds by trashing other individuals. That's the curse. They've got such a negative way of looking at life that they're stuck inside their own negativity. And then, I like to use terminology to describe what this is like. To me, the best terminology that I can have is the curse of narcissism is that they carry what I refer to as a psychological stench around. There's somebody that, let's say that they have not bathed and they just live in squalor, and over a long period of time, they don't even know how badly they smell. That's the way it is with a narcissist. They've got this psychological stench, and their personalities can become so putrid, but they don't even realize that everybody else is doing this and get away from me. That's the curse that they have. So now do you understand why when I talk to people about surviving narcissism, my strong encouragement is whatever you do, don't let them set your pace. I don't want to be known, and I hope that you don't want to be known as somebody who's ultimately controlling or griping real easily or argumentative or cheating or lying or going into rages or demeaning other individuals and holding perpetual grudges, I don't want to be that kind of person because of the curse that goes with that. Instead, I hope that you and I on Team Healthy here can say, well, I want my life to stand for fair-mindedness and love and honor and self-restraint. I want to have a sense of firmness about who I am, but I want to do so in such a way that I can also be simultaneously decent in the way that I do it. I want to have a sense of community. It's not all about me, but it's about us encouraging one another. So I hope you can see that as you engage with that narcissist, and they're wanting to bring all sorts of curse on you if they will, but ultimately they're the ones who are cursed in the sense that they have to look at that contemptuous person in the mirror every single day. That's what they get to live with until the day they die. And what's worse is they don't even get it. In the meantime, here on Team Healthy, we're going to stand for the opposite of all of that anger and contempt. We're going to stand for dignity, respect, and civility. That's how we survive. And the narcissists, they get to go ahead and live under the pain and the misfortune that they bring on to themselves. It's rather sad, isn't it? Okay, well, I hope that videos such as this can give you a good idea of what we're talking about when we refer to narcissism and your response to it. I want you to have insight so that you can actually be a person that says, I'm growing way beyond that. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so, and we'll keep more videos coming. I don't know if you can hear me. Gus is back there snoring again. Probably didn't get picked up on the mic, but nonetheless, he's a good boy. He just turned 8, by the way. He's getting older, sleeps. If you have a need for therapy, I'm pleased to be sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com, and there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you could search out. There's a link below that will take you to their website, and I know that many of you have a desire to seek out the online therapy, so I would strongly encourage you to do so if that would be something that would be beneficial to you. Also, I have my therapeutic videos, the video classes, Ready, Set, Connect, about having good connections. This is me, about establishing boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers. We now have a new podcast that's out there, and so I would encourage you to look into that. We have my books and plenty of other resources there. So avail yourself to all of that, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey, okay? Narcissists are cursed. They're cursed by their own choices and by their own insistence upon having life be all about them. And then they're going to go to the end of their life and they're going to look around and say, well, who's here with me? And there's not going to be a lot of people there. There's going to be a lot of broken relationships. I hope you can see that, because I hope that you can commit to the very opposite of that. I hope you can be a person of steadiness and contentment from your inside out. And in doing so, you get to live not in contempt, but you get to live inside your place of peace.